going.
So next time just skip the introduction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are in 3, 2, 1.
Does everybody have their...
Welcome to Middle Sweden. It's a privilege to be around this dinner table and this guy's farm. And wow, that is cool. we were in this sauna, guys. That's out here. We can host like 125 people. They have unbelievable food. All these cheeses are made here. We had, what was it, clams? A 5-course meal?
Yep.
A 5-course meal?
Yeah.
Unreal.
At least.
Yeah.
Swedish risotto with third rice, man.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. And then they dried the trout, the trout skin, and turned it into a chip.
Yeah.
It's completely a sustainable model. So I would really love to hear about your family's farm here.
Yeah, I'm born and raised here on the farm, and I'm the third generation. My grandfather was born and raised on the other side of the lake, and he couldn't get the permission from his dad to buy a farm on the other side. So he took his kick sled, like spark in Swedish, on the ice over the lake and bought a small farm here. And that's where my journey started here. Now we have no traditional farming going on ourselves. I'm more interested in community building and what the community around our farm could come up to. So that's my story.
Well, thank you for hosting us tonight. Please introduce yourself.
Well, I am Jenny. I'm a partner in crime to the man with the farm. We're hosting a kind of co-working space. We call it some kind of development facility, entrepreneurship place. It's in the middle of Östersund, where we have gathered a lot of people that just wants to do stuff, doers. And there's a lot of them here, so it's been an interesting journey. I had a quick look at it before, and now we're sitting discussing some things concerning it, how we can make it even more international. We have a lot of international people here, but we would like to have you guys coming here more.
So, thank you for hosting us, and could you present to us our challenge that we have, or our discussion topic?
You go.
I think it's better if you do it, actually.
But we didn't tell you guys about the satellite office hut. But out here in the farm, we have placed an office hut. So we can have an office in the landscape other than office landscapes. So that's the concept that we're trying to grow a bit bigger. And so the challenge for you guys is to look at how we can add more value to that. You've seen the office hut, and it's just amazing to sit there and work. But you have to experience that to understand that. So how can we bring more value to that, so that people understand that before they come here? And how do we get it more accessible? That's the question. Because we want to have people like you here, and these kind of discussions that we've had tonight is just brilliant, with people from everywhere, every corner of the world with different impacts. So we want to have those discussions here more. And we have that mothership of Gomorron, which can bring people together. And we want to use as office huts to get people here into the mothership and into the discussions. So that's the challenge. So it's really two different things. How can we add more value to that concept, and how can we make people reach it? So who has the solution? Everybody.
How can we make people physically reach out here, the satellites, away from the stuff?
Yeah.
What?
To get here from Australia to be in this office hut, because they want to just feel this atmosphere. atmosphere and feel the mountains and feel the people here.
If you wait,
Storytelling.
if you wait until tomorrow, I can tell you.
Yeah, you can sleep there.
No, it's about storytelling, Jenny. Definitely, you have to make them feel the atmosphere. You have to make them feel the heart of this place. If you have that heart and you go out with it publicly, then they will come definitely. If you can.
The thing is, places like this will grow very quickly in the next years.
Yeah.
There are many regions all around the world having the same issue, like brain drain. People are going to the city. They have huge infrastructure, really nice, all around the world. So I think very important is that you know what you want and who you are. This story needs to be very clear. You need to know what is it that you really want to have here, because to have nice conversations all around, this is happening, yes, once in a while, and especially with partners like FIA that you have down there. They are also attracting interesting people that you also can participate and contribute. But I think it's important that you know what you want and who you are. So what's the story that you really want to tell? It's beautiful, set, yes, but maybe we also limit ourselves if we want always like people that we are like very close, but also think about like could you work with refugees here? Can you offer the same thing for refugees? Maybe not them really like contributing in a different way, not in a way that this value needs to be a little bit more defined.
I agree. So one thing that I was a little confused by is, are we defining value in the sense of business growth and revenue, which is perfectly acceptable. You know, revenue growth and value is important, which is typically how I talk about business. And so I'm not sure, are we trying to define value in that capacity of this conversation and want to incorporate other aspects of social impact or sustainability and other aspects of value. And so having clarity on that would help me focus how I give my feedback or my remarks.
Yeah, but I think it's two levels, in fact, because you have, as Philip talked about the refugees, we have to have this kind of interaction, but for that we need money. And how do we impact money into this? Well, if we intervene with the people from Europe, because they live in a very crowded area. We have heard about the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, those places. They crave this nature. We have heard them, we have seen their stories. If they get the knowledge of this kind of place, because they have mostly the money also. They have good jobs, good education, everything. They can come here with their money, make impact in that way. So that money would create ways of working with refugees or whatever you want to work with. That you need money.
It's a community.
Yes, it's a community. It's a circle of valuation, I think. You need to get people here with money that comes because they evaluate this kind of places. They want to come because of the nature, the people, the silence, whatever, I don't know, the surroundings. And with their money, you could impact in those kind of projects that you're talking about.
I would not see it like that.
Okay.
From my perspective, it's like, you have to define yourself, what do you want? Or the nice conversation, meaningful conversation with your community by the table. Or do you really want and ready to accept, like, foreigners coming here, or like, the people coming here and sharing this as a business opportunity, like, renting the house. Then again, are you ready to accept one or another? And then make a plan to create a space for community. For me, it looks like a little bit more where you are now. And just the building community also arise new opportunities. Then again, what I face up during our meetings is the most important is the connections. Then again, when you when you find out where you are and what you want, then we'll see where is these people. What connection they have. Maybe Bertula is the best man for that. And then just tell them, hey, come, we are like this. We're ready to sit by this marvelous table. We have that fantastic food. We're ready to share, experience this. Even if it's rain, if it's in the middle, but still not the dark. So yeah, you can experience this, and this is your strength.
Exactly. When I first came here, I immediately thought of the summer camp I went to when I was a kid, and we traveled. We took a bus, and we're in this forest, and we stayed in teepees. You have the infrastructure here to invite people in, and this is what the Unschool did. That I've been a part of. It's a pop-up fellowship that happens around the world, and just in the past year, they invested in a farm in Portugal that was an old olive press farm that had been sitting abandoned for 60 years. She purchased it. She put all of this effort into the redesign and built places where people can come and stay. And she has a network and a connection where people come and share their knowledge and teach. So people will then pay to come and have this experience and learn. So you're already doing that. You already have a place where people will come and learn about building cabins and things like this. So if you can expand the value that you're creating, the knowledge that you're teaching, this is a gold mine here. People would, bend over backwards to travel from any number of countries in the world to experience the nature, go on private guided tours with you, have special sessions, teaching sessions in the office space, and all sorts of learnings that you can apply to agriculture, business. There's a wide variety of teachings you can offer that people will pay a lot to come here and visit you for.
In this approach, we are still very much in competition. You're mentioning the Fazenda in Portugal. I think there are a lot of things like this that are happening. So I think if you really want to make it different, and if you really what are your core values? You were talking about the core values in the beginning. I think it's very important to know that. Second of all, if you're addressing people with money, and then you are still. It's very much in the old way of doing business, in competition, going for marketing, and so on and so on. So I think it's also important for all of us to understand how to step out of this push, but really what is it that is limiting yourself right now in the constellation that you are in right now? I think we have all the same profile here. We are privileged writers, in a way, with the resources that we come to you. So what is it that is really giving the benefit that you want? Is it maybe also are other people that you don't see right now that might be more closer to your community, that can help you to create this kind of pool where you really create the energy of attraction, the energy of getting closer to create this global network, being part of this global network, because this global network already exists. And then it's also getting, if you're clear about that, then you talk to Bertola, hey Bertola, we need software engineers, blah 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 blah, from all around the places, because of this certain project, or because of this what we are doing, or because this is what is close to us. I think I just don't want to get in that direction again of, okay, we need to pull people here, because if this is happening, I think those places are really living because they are so authentic. They're so coming from your story of friendship of more than many years. So I think this is also takes time to create this relationship with people, and then you will attract other people. I mean, of course, we all will learn about the place here, I suppose, because I mean, what we are experiencing is something really special.
I have a question. Well, someone sounds like they were going to speak.
Yeah, the silent one here. Let him speak. He's going to talk. It's going to be good.
I was just besides the obvious things that you probably already have for it, incredible website, social media. That's what people. Some things you kind of have to play into. You could be unique with some, but otherwise, you know, people expect an incredible website, incredible social media, so they have confidence, especially if they're traveling far, that this is the real deal, that they're not going to show up and, you know, God knows, right? So, but I wanted to go back to the storytelling part, which is very smart to bring up, but I think it's not just you have to try your best to put yourself in the I don't want to say customer, but the guest.
Yeah.
You're trying to put yourself in the guest's shoes and the parameters that people are using now before they go anywhere. It's not necessarily the story that you tell about it, which is part of it, but what's the story of people who had experiences here already? So if you could start to compile the feedback from people who already have stayed here, you know, they want to hear from them. How was their experience? Because you could say, oh, it's beautiful, you're gonna love it, great, thanks. But you know, like, what was their story? What was their feedback? And because if you look at Airbnb, Couchsurfing, all these systems, all based on reviews and testimonials. I don't care what the host has to say. I go through the reviews.
Yeah.
So I think you have to put a lot of attention on that, and to the point. And I don't know if you've done this already yet, but in order to build these testimonials and these reviews, maybe you can consider offering free stays to people to try it, to build up a certain foundation for the storytelling. You know, what's the cost to you if they just come stay there if no one else was going to stay anyway? So maybe offering some kind of a, I don't know, locally it's easiest, right? But I suppose it could be from anywhere. Maybe for a certain period of time initially, offering free or super cheap stays, or I mean, like anybody, you just to start building.
So
through
I
reviews.
have a question. I want to make sure that I'm multitasking. This is a little complicated. So for roughly $300, or sorry, I'll just say roughly $300 for 1 month, I could have access to your co-working space. And if I stayed there, the cabin that I'm at, which is amazing, which is like easy to get travel to and from the city. It's not difficult at all. How much would it cost for me to rent that for a month?
We haven't any like fixed price for that, but for members right now, Gomorron, they can use it as much as they want.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, so let me explain. So I forgot there's a co-working cabin. We mentioned it briefly, and that's a part of the $300. The monthly. Is that the part of the monthly?
Yeah, right now it is. Yeah.
Right now it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now for $300, you have an amazing facility with a functional co-working space, very novel. Like anyone who knows about co-working spaces, you know what it looks like, but it's amazing, and it's actually a unique spin. Because you can go to a cabin on this lake and stay there. There's a bed. It's not just like it's a cabin, and you can work there. You have to build your own fire, but it's not that difficult. And if you need me to freaking come to Sweden and help you build a fire, I can preheat it for you for $20. But there's Wi-Fi that you can tap into. There's mountain biking. During the winter time, there's skiing, cross-country skiing, trekking. And so roughly, if you have the time, like we're talking about digital nomads, right? Like a unique demographic. For $1,000 of cost in the region, I could have access to co-working space, lodging, and then on the food side, there was probably some ways to help facilitate those the needs, because the cost of food and alcohol can be a little bit more difficult, but there's probably, it seems like there's a strong community here for when it comes to basic needs of sharing on food, right?
Yeah.
So, because like one thing that I have a difficult time with when I travel to countries where the currency is an issue is that, well, what would cost me $2,000 a month to eat and drink in the U.S. to eat and drink the same way in the state or in Sweden now or Norway, it's $8,000. You know, there's like a 4x multiply. And so, anyways, I just want to make that clear. If you do watch this, for $1,000, you can eat, you can drink, you can stay with amazing people, and there's a lake!
With the monster, don't forget the monster.
With the monster.
The marketing sucks a little bit, but...
And
That was the baby.
anyways, I don't want to distract, but I just think like the numbers, it's that affordable. But at the same time, if you prefer more of a luxury experience, for like $3,000 to $5,000 a month, you guys could create curated 4-course meals, 5-course meals.
Exactly.
We could also like for groups of like 15 to 20. If you want to do a business retreat, all the way from arrival and logistics from Stockholm, that wouldn't be difficult. Like that's like
No, it's not difficult. No.
Yeah.
right, and so
No,
for $5,000 a head per person, you could create a really remarkable experience
Yeah.
for 30 days.
Mindfulness retreat.
Yoga.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yoga.
I'm
Health.
here.
You
And
can
I'm all
actually,
yours.
whatever
Anyways,
your clients want.
I just wanted to like bring in
And
a little
Benny's.
bit more like actionable
No,
decisions,
no.
sales, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
And may I continue then? Could you describe your potential, let's say, guests? What do you expect? Who will come? Like men, women, age, what he's doing.
Well, the thing is that what we want to do, you've been asking us, so what do you want? Really?
Yeah.
What we want to do is to challenge the way people look at the workplace.
Yeah.
That's the basics of it.
Men or women?
Both, I think.
Both. It's more of an open mind thing that people want to try and see how can we live healthier, how can we do a different lifestyle, how can we look at work in a different way compared to the rest of the life. Do we need to separate it in the way that we do now? Do we need to work from corporate environments?
What if we don't need to work anymore?
Hopefully, we don't.
That's
Exactly.
what you do. What
That's
you
beyond,
did. That's
yeah.
your story, actually.
We're just transitioning.
But what we want to do is to just push the idea of how we work and the environments that we spend most of our lives in. How can we do that differently? So this is the office huts is one way to do it, and the Godmorgon, the mothership place, the co-working space is also part of that, because it's quite different from other places. It's more like a home place.
Have you questioned
Part of the question maybe.
Yeah, but have you questioned the one who's already stayed with you? Does they make reviews, or the expectations of them would have been complete here, and etc. What was your strength part? What does it complete? Do you understand what I mean?
We haven't done that so
Okay.
specific.
Maybe you should.
That would give you a lot of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Same, I guess, with the community. What would be interesting and what they expect. That would gives you also the extra thought. What would be like and thought and resources.
Yeah,
They
because you
probably
can
would
never.
get some they own interest to interact, and that would be the key.
Yeah, because you can never know what people feel or sense or think if you don't ask them specifically.
So just start to ask the question.
Exactly.
What does it mean? What is the strong parts? And then you can show. You can make the profile. Now we'll see. Are you ready to meet it? Or I like your story very much. You exactly answer what the people can come to you. It's like they just one day they understand that computer is sex. They don't want. They don't want to sit in the boxes
No.
and see only monitors. They want the place like that, when they can walk, be open, and do what they want in the spaces like that. So this is probably the knowing what is the expectation then of them. You can meet them in the way.
And what are your challenges? Do you have any challenges that you have to meet up? What do people need that you can't supply right now?
That's more like practical issues.
Yes, I know.
How to get there, and I mean that's the basic issues that we're trying to put together more and more all the time. How do we get the food there?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're working on cooperations with Måns Place, for example, so you can bring a basket of just amazing food
That's perfect.
with you to the place. So we're putting the puzzle pieces of the puzzle together of like the basic needs that you need to have. And what we know from people who have been staying there is that it's the experiences blows them away. So that's the core value, I think, the experience of just a complete different workday.
I was just thinking, chances are all the competencies you need to promote exactly what you want to do are already working at your workspace. So maybe you can come up with a way to incentivize people at the workspace. Obviously they're already doing jobs, but if you come up with some way to incentivize be able to tap into their competencies or their networks, maybe you can offer some kind of a discount or membership or some kind of incentive system, or maybe people just want to help grow maybe you can come up with some system where the more membership or the more visits here, cost of membership goes down there for everybody. So it inspires people individually. Maybe you have a meeting with everyone and say, if you could just email 20 people you know, locally or internationally, and then as referrals come in, they can track who brought them in, and so you can actually crowdsource promotion through people already there, through incentives. That's one of the benefits of how many people have a whole workspace full of marketing, promotion lists, specialists, IT, Google, hashtag, I don't even know. You guys are sitting on it, and you've, so you possibly have a lot to work with there.
Even from that idea, you could do an annual series or a quarterly series. First quarter is marketing, second quarter is whatever, values, business, strategy, and invite them in and you share the profits.
And do not forget art and poetry. That's something like that united.
Storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling. This is amazing. Something which gives the mind out.
And you have to touch the heart.
Maybe also in a way that how they can connect with the story. Like how can they be part of the story that you are creating here. So that means, it's one thing that you say that they're having an amazing time here and it's like, whoa, it's blowing them off. But what is the impact in their life later on? And how can you also use and amplify this impact within your local community? So they are becoming part of your story that you're creating here. And it would be really interesting to know, what did they experience here, but also what did change in their life because of it.
Definitely.
What do you want? You want more people? Do you want more value? Do you want more international? What are you looking for exactly? Do you want growth? What do you want?
I guess we're looking for, or with you as a discussion group, I think we're looking for like the big value that would move you from Denmark here. What would that be? That
Summer.
makes it so
Summer.
interesting.
Summer for sure.
I can't offer that one. Sorry. That was just that day has passed.
Summer.
No.
Summer was
One day.
You missed it.
But then again, you're more looking at outside instead of inside. what is it that you can teach the rest of the world? What is it that you can really like, where people are really don't ask to come here because they just really want to be part of it. And if you ask them, okay, hey, what can we offer you, then you are always going outside instead of really valuing what you have already.
Yeah, I guess that comes back to what we want to make people do. Yeah.
What do you want to give people? Not what do you want them to do, but what do you want to promote? What behaviors do you want to encourage? What changes in consumers do you want to drive? What differences in patterns of the public do you want to see? Because that's the opportunity you have.
Yeah, exactly, and I guess that's what we want to achieve. We want to make people challenge their way they look at things. So in that case, it would be interesting to get people that can actually affect workspaces in different ways. So that could be the business leaders that can affect many people. It would be quite efficient to make them understand that, okay, maybe if they put their employees in a different workspace, that would make them more efficient.
Are you doing it?
Retreats,
Are you doing that already?
profiles,
To get them here? Yeah, what kind of? Already Gomorron has that kind of effect. And so now we're having discussions with big companies.
Who did you meet today? Kiki?
What's the small
Kiki?
companies?
Kiki? Yeah? What about Kiki?
She just won, the company
Yeah,
just
yeah,
won,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
you're doing it.
Yeah.
So how can you amplify? How can you
Yes.
like really like build on that and involve them in being your partners?
I would say she's a small company within a big company. The big companies, they're gone, right? You've already lost them. By the time they're a corporation, there's really a small opportunity you have to affect them. But it's the SMEs you really have who are attracted to you and you're attracted to them, that you have the potential to impact their values and their change. So it's probably the small business community you want to target.
But it's quite interesting because there's also interest from the bigger companies because they understand that they have to change because they are more slow, right?
Okay.
So they haven't developed that much in the employee perspective.
And they have more money.
Yeah, they have more money and they have more potential impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
And they understand that they need to change because otherwise they won't be interesting as an employee, right? So they need to change their workspaces as well. Just see how can we make people happy. Like Kiki said today, I'm just gonna curl them, right? She's just gonna make them happy. If she makes them happy, then they're gonna stay and do a good job. So that's a challenge for all the companies.
Yeah, especially now in this region because we have so many companies that are increasing, and we don't have people. We don't have labor. We need people to come here to work, and we need skilled people. We need people with education. So I think that is the challenge, to get people to come here, to want to be here, work here, because it's a challenge to stay here during the winter time. It's very dark, very much snow. It's not very convenient all the time.
Well,
so how do you get people
do you
to
agree
want
there?
to go?
Refugees
I
are
love
a
it.
perfect community.
Yeah,
then.
because I'm
That's
from
your
here,
goal.
so for me it's like my.
Then target refugees. They're determined. They're here no matter what season it is, and they'll do whatever it takes to survive. Because there's not an option when you're Scandinavian. You always have what you need. The services are provided to you from the state, but that's not always the case when.
Can I pause? Just because you made that remark, can you give a quick snapshot about Restart?
Yeah, I would love to. I guess the point, so Restart is a startup company based out of Aalborg, Sweden, who is adapting crowdfunding to local communities so that we can all invest in local entrepreneurs who happen to be displaced to start or restart their companies. So the reason this is so important for the Nordics is because economically speaking, the population is shrinking. And this is a problem, this is a burden for countries that have such a strong welfare state, because you need one generation to sustain the next. So it's the obvious choice. You have this generation with the determination, the skills, the experience to make this happen, to grow jobs, to generate tax revenue. So I see Restart as what we're building as a way to redistribute resources in a way that positively benefits generations to come in the Nordics and therefore the world. So what you have here is quite similar. It's a space that encourages entrepreneurship, innovative thinking. You're open to new ideas, new connections, and I think maybe the obvious place to start if you're looking for people who want to stay, who are looking for opportunities, is refugees. Yeah.
And the money, the funding might come from the local community here, because it's benefiting the local community. It's not coming from outside.
Exactly.
It might come that the money is coming from governmental funding that is in need in finding solutions for refugees. So I think it's always good to go beyond what we are often like using and accepting as market principles that we are.
Yeah. That's what innovation is. The intersection of cultures and ideas and necessities. Yeah.
Well, you have all the resources. It's only imagination that puts the limit, isn't it? You can do whatever you want.
Another target could be like parents or families with kids that are unschooled. So that are really like parents or families that are able to travel with their kids as well. So this can also
It's okay.
Chain reaction.
Everything's fine.
This can also give you an opportunity that you're attracting not, for example, singles or digital nomads that are in smaller communities, but like families that could also be like coming from refugees, where the kids are also not like in schools, but I think this is also like a very interesting model. A lot of people are taking their kids out now, and they are thinking about traveling around in order to create kind of.
Oh wow!
Oh man, now it's getting lucky.
I tell you, yeah.
Can we take off the
light? The light is everything. You got it. You got it.
You mean for us as a community, or for the bigger community?
The dinner table.
For you as a community, but also for the bigger community, because kids are very much in interacting and really like a binding and bridging factor, because
kids don't see borders or religions or ethnicities. Kids are so open and
skin color, nothing.
Yeah, kids are a great place to start.
That was
so
my reason
don't just
for
look
a
at
question, man or woman.
at your 35, 40, 25 entrepreneurs, but really like they also need to sustain their family. They also like I know from a Dutch family that is living half of a year in Thailand. Their father is trading with cryptocurrency. So they took their whole kids out, and they are not traveling around. And those are also very interesting opportunities to build up a story. And especially in the beginning, maybe where you really can offer like, okay, stay here for a month, make an promo video or whatsoever, tell the story how you saw it. Also like get them into your story, really being part, not only we are getting clients, we are going for tourism.
But the interesting thing about farming and what you say too, also refugees, is refugees most commonly have a background in agriculture and animal culture and things like this. So if you're making an attempt to preserve this culture that your grandfather had and your grandfather had for Ola, like this is a really big opportunity for you to connect cultures and share information and keep this wisdom alive. Because you have the infrastructure here, maybe they have the knowledge, and together, it's tremendous.
They definitely have the knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, I guess also important for you, like values. find out the core, and also to ask yourself, like, what kind of impact you would like to do with your life and with this place. What is gonna be like community center or international community center, and then you will find out the answer as well in this in this one. Like, impact. I want to change the learning system out of the schools here in the environment. I want to make the people happy who would like to change the culture, working culture, and the attitude on the work. The many books are saying now that we are productive for not more than 4 hours, and then what we need to do is go to the mindfulness, to go to educate yourself, to find out the nice things. So just find out it's inside you again. You are ready to tell the story, and this is the core, and the people around you. You start to make this circle. Just continue and just think what you want to create in the end. What it would be the result of this place. There's going to be the big company's party place during the summer, or is going to be the space for very creative people which is coming here. You already start to build the houses. Give them opportunity for 2 hours to build the houses. Work with this. Whatever its English name. And this is the research, and he will see the result. What we are modern community often missing the result, very very clear result. What I did with my hands, what I can do. So maybe this is can be.
Also, if you're talking about people potentially relocating from other parts of the world or even other parts of Sweden. Do you have something currently, some kind of relocation assistance? So for example, maybe at minimum a resource page on a website that gives links to local real estate, so people can get an impression of what's the rent cost, what's the general pricing for houses based on size. So
and you can buy 100 acres for 75 grand with existing housing on it, right? And
Dollars.
Or
yes, $75,000.
Well, whatever it is, because people.
It just
people might
point
not.
Of reference,
people need a point of reference, but because maybe you can try to make it as complete as possible, so people don't. Because maybe somebody thinks, oh, this is cool, but there's not enough information, and they're busy and they forget it. But if you put enough right there, you have an opportunity to capture people.
Improve the lighting.
Should I tell a ghost story now?
Yes.
We went to tell the story about the ghost cabin. Please go for a ghost cabin in Ragunda.
But making a resource page at a minimum, but you could also offer a service. I don't know.
Yes.
I know time is precious, but once again, back to incentivizing. Maybe you've got somebody in the community, if they give a couple hours a week to talk to somebody on the phone about relocation options or just Q&A, like, hey man, what's it like to live in Östersund? If it's just an online page and there's too many questions, they're gonna forget, they're gonna go on to the next. So make it as comprehensive and no-brainer as possible. Like, hey, come here, we've got a great center, but by the way, this is a cheap, affordable place to live, and here's examples. So be as specific as you can. I mean, cut out the research time on their end.
And find the companies who are already giving their employees these 6-8 weeks off to explore and take their family.
And this is something Heim Studio could do.
Like the ketchup?
Or
Ketchup!
No!
Quickly, the ketchup!
That's all I think about.
Heim Food Studio. I know I'm kind of hijacking the conversation a little bit, but it's all relevant because we're talking about the community.
He's saturated.
Is Heim Food Studio and what they're creating there, because from my observation, the greatest advantage that this community has is its natural assets.
Natural asset.
right?
I translate to my English.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Tell us what the studio is first of all.
Well,
'cause I'm
I know,
not
but
familiar.
so the natural assets: lake, affordability,
Oh, this studio.
food,
This one?
cost of living,
Interesting community.
interesting community. There's really talented creatives. They dance like nobody's business.
Out from the restaurant.
If you are looking for family, there's plenty of opportunities to create one with really respectful, honorable, beautiful Swedish women.
I knew that this was coming.
I'm not. I'm just saying. Like, I know it's like an American legend, but I've been here for 3 days and it's out of control.
Where are the beautiful women?
They're everywhere, and they're nice. They're so kind, and they all know how to ski and survive avalanches. Okay, sorry. I'm getting distracted. A little
And
distracted.
manage monsters in the lake.
Yes, absolutely. But
Frida had
Freya.
the temple here.
We can
But-
go to the Freya temple
but-
if you want to.
okay, we can. But coming back to the food studio,
But what he's saying is like there's already a lot of things going on.
the communication. What he was saying about having a centralized. I mean, whether it's a government service or whether it's a public to private partnership, that could be determined. But like a weekly call, like it might be 6 months that nobody calls in.
But you have fun.
But you're available and you do it and you like tell the story, and even if it's just you have to start. This is podcasting. This is like content creation, because the community here is and the government is willing to work with business owners. It's Sweden. Y'all are socialists, you know, and but because that's your advantage, because that's the way that your government works, which is, I don't have a problem with that, you know. I mean, like, I really, yes, just because I'm an American, cut me a little slack. But like you can utilize that resource to organize a collaborative communication. Like, hey government, like let's start doing this. And if you do some planning, to his point here,
Even more practical, put together the players that are bringing already people from outside, and maybe you're like using that because they are relocating already. They are attracting people already. They're bringing people for the music festival, for the food and what's going on now. Create something around that, something that if there are people already coming, they could stay. They could, some special retreats around that time and so on. This could be the first
Day of lobsters.
Yeah, but we're discussing that kind of cooperation, and we have that kind of cooperation partly with the officials here. They're using us to draw attention to people moving here, to startups in Norway, for example, and things. But we're working on a concept also that is quite nice. With journeys here for people that are interested, put together a recruitment travel here to experience what Youngplan is about, what Östersund is about, what the people is about, for different themes. So let's say that we're looking for IT engineers. Okay, so let's just put them together, and the ones that like mountain biking, okay, so we have a journey for them. They can come here and experience what. Are they going to mountain bike here or not? Is it good or not? So they know what it's about. And just put together the networks and the community so they meet them and see where the connections are. Are they going to make it into the society because that's an issue, and so on. So that's something that we work on.
How's it going?
Put together. We're too much into the expansion of Gomorron right now. We're building, so we had to put it a bit on the side. but the companies that wants to get people here are very interested. So there's, I mean, it's just to do it basically.
So the flow is here?
The flow is here.
The flow is here.
Yeah, definitely.
All hotels.
People are curious.
All the hotels employ salespeople to bring in groups, and sometimes these sales, I mean, that's what they do full time. They just have to get groups to come here and stay at Scandic or whatever. But sometimes they get requests that they can't fulfill. Maybe somebody calls them.
This is good.
Maybe somebody calls them and they want more of a rustic experience. Or they just, the salesperson just knows that it's not gonna happen, it's not the right vibe. So you can create a collaborative relationship with these hotel managers because it works both ways. In the end, it's kind of a trick because you're gonna benefit more. But what I mean is, you tell them that you don't have capacity for huge, massive groups of people. So since you're starting your promotion, whenever you can't handle it, you're gonna pass the lead on to them. But vice versa, it's more likely that they're gonna get special requests from special kinds of groups that they can't handle, and they'd pass it on to you. But that's the more likely scenario. So you know, you could leverage with people that are already getting paid by corporate companies to do this full time, and they'd rather, you know, why not pass a lead on to you, and then maybe you'll give something to them. So it's
it's just partnerships.
Partnerships.
It's like who are the hospitality professional? Yeah. Like we're talking about verticals here. Like you're a hospitality provider. That's one dynamic. You're also sorry, I'm like trying to do many things. You have your mountain biking. This is just what I like. I'll tell you what I like, and this is what I would do if I was you. One, I would probably just have kids and enjoy my family. So you have a great life. But on the business side of things, like I would find I really like the adventure component. And so who are the adventure tourists in the community? And who are the largest ones? And as he just said, hotels. Like, is your brochure in every hotel? And not just your brochure in there. Like, do you know Frida?
In Hotel Östersund?
Yeah.
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 Nice.
I know.
Yeah.
Wait, you know Frida?
No, I know. He is
You
married,
have to-
sorry.
you have to
Well, no,
interact with
but
her. Yes,
this
definitely.
is just professional
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
So Frida, she was very friendly. She works the front desk. Like you need to know her. Like she needs to know
Yes.
about what you have here.
Speak perfect
Because
English.
she's the person that like if she receives a call, like she probably is the one of the people directing to this
Exactly.
to this group. Or like, oh no, like
Yeah.
this is the person you send an email to. But if she knows you, and there's some people that she might be like, actually, you need to send this person an email, but do you know about this local business? Boom, right there you could get a group of 25.
Yeah, but can I interfere there?
Yeah,
Because in
help.
Östersund,
Yeah.
so many times when I try to book a room for my work, because I go here so often, and they laugh at me, oh my god, we don't have any rooms left because so crowded, we have so many events right now, we don't have any rooms left.
Seriously.
So why don't you give them the opportunity? But I have this number, you can call these people. You have this opportunity. It's not in the center of the city, but wow. Because they give us no opportunity. I have to go and search for other rooms myself. So and it happens all the time. Because Östersund is very popular. You have so many events all the time. You have the biathlon and everything. So much going on all the time. So many times I have tried to get a room and there's no possibilities. This is perfect. Sorry, Caleb.
You can also those are the people that you invite first, maybe.
Yes.
The experience.
Yes.
The experience they have.
I mean, let's go with the example of Frida. If she stays here for 2 days whatsoever, she will also have an experience. So this, you build it up locally in a way that you really tell the same story all together. Because in the end, you're not just developing your co-working space, but you're really developing the whole region. You're part of the whole what is happening. If it is food that is important, if it is a sustainable lifestyle is important, if it's the active lifestyle that is important, the change in workplace and so on. This is the whole story that you are going to tell, and I think the stronger the stories that you're telling together, the better it is. So invite them.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, and binge it.
The hotel, old theater. I mean, you have so much story there, storytelling about the theater and everything. Interact with them, because they have so many stories to tell.
And Ben just made a good point about like local partnerships. And you're a co-working space, right? So how the two of you work together is, well, if you know Frida,
Yeah.
and you know Frida,
No.
but like
nice.
if you did, then
You
like
should get to know
if
her.
there is a business owner
Yes.
that has to come here for international business, and they just like travel all the time, like, and they're like, I have no idea why the hell I'm here, but I'm here. Well, the thing is if you know Frida, they can still work from a cabin all day and be in nature. And they don't want to be in the city. And they could come out and they could be here. And this is how your guys' partnership at a hyper-local level, or deep local, is that what we're calling it, right? Hashtag deep local, hashtag Nordic Impact Journey, hashtag Stories of Refuge, hashtag Shape Culture, hashtag Impact Journey 2018! Oh my gosh, I'm getting tired. What time is it? It's 1 a.m. But look at this.
No, it's 2 p.m. 1 p.m.
It's light outside, but the sauna is warmed up.
Yes, it's warm.
I threw an extra log on there, so we're gonna get round 2 here soon. They're gonna flush out my body. But it's getting hotter this time. Y'all, that was a weak sauna earlier. I'm not gonna lie.
So
I'm digressing.
Definitely. Where we are right now, how do you feel? What is your first reaction or
My first reaction is that I should have brought like a note.
Don't worry about that.
That's the second thought.
Everything's fine.
But like always, it's a bunch of good ideas and they go in all directions. And I really think we could pick some parts that we really feel that goes.
What's relevant to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's really
eat the meat, spit out the bones.
Yeah.
And then make tools from it.
Yes. Because it's really important for us. It's of course it's part of business, but for us we want brains and hearts here from other places, and of course we want them to grow as persons as well. So we have to give something and hopefully have something back.
Well, you've already given us a tremendous experience and fabulous food. Yeah. I mean, everyone has seen the dinner table here, and there's been 5 courses. Oh, wait, no. 4 courses, but then there's also the appetizers.
Ah, yes.
Jenny,
So good.
what about you?
Yeah, it's a lot of, as Johan said, it's a lot of different ideas in different directions, and I think we can pick some of them straight down and just do something with them.
Yeah.
And the local partnerships, I think, is really important. And I have a friend who started a business and started by inviting all the hairdressers in town before they opened the business, which was brilliant, of course, because the hairdressers knew everybody and talked well about it. And it's the same with the hotels and Frida.
Did your friend have any hair left after that one?
I don't think so. But that could be worth it.
Oh, we can do it today, yeah?
Exactly. So, no, but I think that's kind of wise, and to use the community more in different ways to reach it. And I think you will come when we do so, when we open the door. Right now it's not really accessible. We're not really like out with offer. So we have some work to do before we can okay, come here, experience this. But when we do that, we want to do it in a good way.
But I disagree with you. Like, from the people that I know, I came into like a hyper privileged. I get that. But from the 20 locals that I have met, I really think if you just created, hey guys, we're gonna try something really big here, and here's the plan, and you just do it. Like, I really think the story from this cabin to your co-working space to the Hein Food Studio, that in and of itself, you don't need anything more than that. But we have to get like alignment of like, we're talking 10 people, like 10 tourists or 10 travelers, like, and how, like, for one person, if one person like found us online and said, hey, I'm gonna be there next week and I have $10,000, it's a corporate account, that's my per diem, I don't care, but I'm gonna be there for 5 days, I don't want to have to do anything. Could you say yes? And then for $10,000, what would I get for those 5 days being completely taken care of? You know, costs, travel, how you guys make money, partnerships, like what could you guys share from the Hein Food Studio to your co-working space to lodging on your cabin or in town or wherever? Like, what is that answer for 5 days for $10,000? Give me that answer for one person, and like answer that question, and then in 4 hours.
Or answer it also with partners, with the local partners. You can invite them and just share the vision that you have, the dream that you have, and make, you know, ask Frida what she sees, what she can. I also believe that you already can start.
Frida.
She is. I also believe that you already, like, you have so much to offer, and it must not be perfect. But at the same time, I also understand why it's not flowing yet, because there's some clarity missing. But get the local community helping you to get this clarity.
Well, and the only reason why I keep pushing this so heavily is because, like, I've failed a lot, and I've lost a lot of money, and I've like it hasn't worked. But I've realized so often it was because I wanted to control details, or I wanted more information than was really necessary for it to actually work. And oftentimes, like, I mean, I know you get this from, like, you worked on your idea for 3 years. I mean, I know you know all this stuff. Like, it's nothing you haven't heard before. But from what I'm hearing you say, some of this is new, or there's new ideas, or like, well, like, I don't know actually the strength of your guys' relationship, and like there's like those things that have to be considered, you know. But you guys are doing like really remarkable stuff, and I've just had a great time. It's the end of the night, I'm tired, and I want to go in the sun.
I just put fresh wood in.
Yeah! In the sauna?
Yeah, I just
Alex,
started the
we love
fire,
you.
there's
Woo!
lots of wood.
All right.
You're my idol.
Is there a like, we should probably do like a, if anyone actually watches this 1 hour video.
Fia was saying good. Hi. This.
Yeah, if
Hey,
if
hey,
you interact with
Frida!
Frida,
No,
so
Frida,
many
no,
thousands of
Frida! No, listen.
Okay, Frida.
Frida.
Hi, Frida.
Ostrom Hotel, phenomenal service, great experience.
Hotel Östersund.
And she
Hotel
will.
Ostrom.
And she will stay in Östersund. She will not move away.
No,
She
well,
can go here.
you can do whatever you want. You do whatever you want.
No,
No
she-
problem.
she said it. She will stay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she
Anyways,
can.
wait, let's say things. What we had the food fest this weekend. Hotel Östersund was a great experience.
Yeah.
The movie theater.
Yeah.
The Gomorrah. Wait. Gomorrah.
The temple of Freya.
I can't
Temple of
pronounce it.
Freya.
Good morning.
Whatever.
It's good morning.
Anyways,
Yeah.
this has been a phenomenal experience, and
You want to go to sauna?
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So cut